Welcome to Actors Cultural Theater. My name is Ed Casas, and I'll be your narrator for tonight's Zoom presentation of Steampunk Frankenstein, performed in 4 acts with a different pair of actors portraying the Doctor and the monster in each act. In Act 1, the monster and the Doctor meet for the very first time since the monster's creation. The monster has previously killed the Doctor's little brother, and an innocent maid was hung for the crime. The Doctor is played by Eric Swain, and the monster by Amedeo Falgiatori. And the monster confronts the Doctor.
Devil, do you dare approach me, and do not you fear the fierce vengeance of my arm wreaked upon your miserable head?
I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched. How then must I be hated who am miserable beyond all living things?
Be gone, vile insect.
You, my creator, detest and spurn me, thy creature, to whom thou art bound by ties only dissoluble by the annihilation of one of us.
Stay, that I may trample you to dust.
You propose to kill me? How dare you sport thus with life?
And oh, that I could, with the extinction of your miserable existence, restore those victims that you diabolically murdered.
Do your duty toward me, and I will do mine toward you and the rest of mankind.
Abhorrent monster!
If you will not comply with my conditions, I will leave them and you at peace.
Fiend that thou art!
But if you refuse, I will glut the maw of death until it be satiated with the blood of your remaining friends.
The tortures of hell are too mild a vengeance for thy crimes, wretched devil. You reproach me with your creation. Come on then, that I may extinguish the spark which I so negligently bestowed.
Become! I entreat you to hear me, before you give vent to your hatred on my devoted head. Have I not suffered enough that you seek to increase my misery? Life, although it may only be an accumulation of anguish, is dear to me, and I will defend it.
Be gone, or let us try our strength in a fight, in which one must fall.
Remember, thou hast made me more powerful than thyself. My height is superior to thine, my joints more supple, but I will not be tempted to set myself in opposition to thee.
Why do you call to my remembrance circumstances of which I shudder to reflect on, that I have been made the miserable origin and author?
I am thy creature, and I will even mild and docile to my natural lord and king, if thou wilt also perform thy part, which thou owest me.
Be gone.
Oh, Frankenstein.
I will not hear you.
Be not equitable to every other and trample upon me alone, to whom thy justice and even thy clemency and affection is most due.
There can be no community between you and me. We are enemies.
Remember that I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather of the fallen angel whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed.
Cursed be the day, abhorrent devil, in which you first saw light. Cursed, although I curse myself, be the hands that formed you.
I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. How can I move thee? Will no entreaties cause thee to turn a favorable eye upon thy creature who implores thy goodness and compassion? Believe me, Frankenstein, I was benevolent. My soul glowed with love and humanity. But am I not alone? Miserably alone? You, my creator, abhor me. What hope can I gather from your fellow creatures who owe me nothing? They spurn and hate me. The desert mountains and the dreary glaciers are my refuge. I have wandered here many days. The caves of ice, which I only do not fear, are a dwelling to me, and the only one which man does not grudge. These bleak skies I hail, for they are kinder to me than your fellow beings. the multitude of mankind knew of my existence, they would do as you do and arm themselves for my destruction. Shall I then not hate them who abhor me? I will keep no terms with my enemies. I am miserable, and they shall share my wretchedness.
You have made me wretched beyond expression. You have left me no power to consider whether I am just to you or not.
Yet it is in your power to recompense me and deliver them from an evil which it only remains for you to make so great that not only you and your family, but thousands of others shall be swallowed up in the whirlwinds of its rage. Let your compassion be moved, and do not disdain me, Frankenstein. You would, with a satisfied conscience, destroy your own creature. Oh, praise the eternal justice of man. Yet I ask you not to spare me. Listen to me, and then, if you can, and if you will, destroy the work of your hand.
In Act 2, we continue with the monster making a proposal to the Doctor. The Doctor is portrayed by Amadeo Falgiatori, and the monster is played by myself, Ed Casas. Maja Nile will be playing the dream of the bride, and the Doctor speaks.
Be gone! Relieve me from the sight of your detested form.
Thus I relieve thee, my creator. Thus I take from thee a sight which you abhor. Still, thou can listen to me and grant me thy compassion. I demand this from you. On you it rests whether I quit forever the neighborhood of man and lead a hapless life, or become the scourge of your fellow creatures and the author of your own speedy ruin. You must create a mate for me with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you as a right which you must not refuse to concede.
I do refuse it, and no torture shall ever extort a consent from me. You may render me the most miserable of men, but you shall never make me base in my own eyes. Shall I create another like yourself, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world? Begone! I have answered you, you may torture me, but I will never consent.
You are in the wrong! And instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you. I am malicious because I am miserable. Am I not shunned and hated by all mankind? You, my creator, would tear me to pieces and triumph, remember that, and tell me why I should pity man more than he pities me. Shall I respect man when he contemns me? Let him live with me in the interchange of kindness? But that cannot be. The human senses are insurmountable barriers to our union. I will revenge my injuries. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear, and chiefly towards you, my arch-enemy. Because my creator do, I swear, inextinguishable hatred. I will work at your destruction, nor finish until I desolate your heart, so that you shall curse the hour of your birth. I intended to reason. This passion is detrimental to me. What I ask of you is reasonable and moderate. I demand a creature of another sex, but as hideous as myself. My companion will be of the same nature as myself.
Yes, and we shall make our bed of dried leaves. The sun will shine on us as on man and will ripen our food. It is true. We shall be monsters, cut off from all the world. But in that account, we shall be more attached to one another. Our lives will not be happy, but they will be harmless and free of misery. we shall feel the affections of sensitive beings and become linked to the chain of existence and events from which we are now excluded. I swear by the sun and by the fire of love that burns my heart, that if you grant my prayer, if you consent, neither you nor any other human being shall ever behold us again. We will quit the neighborhood of man and dwell, as it may chance, in the most savage of places. We will go to the vast wilds of South America.
Propose to fly from the habitations of man to dwell in those wilds where the beasts of the field will be your only companions?
The picture I present to you is peaceful and human, and you must feel that you could deny it only in the wantons of power and cruelty. Pitiless as you have been towards me, I now see compassion in your eyes. Let me seize the favorable moment and persuade you to promise what I so ardently desire.
How can you who long for the love and sympathy of man persevere in this exile? Seek their kindness and you will be met with their detestation. Your evil passions will be renewed and you will then have a companion to aid you in this task of destruction. This may not be. Cease to argue the point, for I cannot consent.
How inconstant are your feelings? But a moment ago you were moved by my representations. Why do you again harden yourself to my complaints? I swear to you by the earth which I inhabit, and by you that made me, that with the companion you bestow, my evil passions will have fled. For I shall meet with sympathy. My life will flow quietly away, and in my dying moments, I shall not curse my master.
Swear to be harmless, but have you not already shown a degree of malice that should reasonably make me distrust you? May not even this be a feint that will increase your triumph by affording a wider scope for your revenge?
I must not be trifled with, and I demand an answer. If I have no ties and no affections, hatred and vice must be my portion. My vices are the children of a forced solitude that I abhor.
All right, I consent to your demand. Or you'll sell them out to quit Europe forever and every other place in the neighborhood of man. As soon as I shall deliver into your hands a mate who will accompany you into your exile.
Fear not. When you are ready, I shall appear. In Act 3, the Doctor agrees to the monster's demands to create a bride, but quickly destroys his work in horror. The monster will now be played by Myra Graves, and the Doctor by Lisa Wolkowitz. And the monster speaks.
You have destroyed the work which you began. What is it that you intend?
Begone!
Do you dare to break your promise?
I do break my promise.
I have endured toil and misery. I left Switzerland with you. I crept along the shores of the Rhine, among its willow islands and over the summits of its hills. I have dwelt many months in the heaths of England and among the deserts of Scotland. I have endured incalculable fatigue and cold and hunger. Do you dare destroy my hopes?
Never will I create another like yourself, equal in deformity and wickedness.
Slave, I before reasoned with you, but you have proved yourself unworthy of my condescension.
The hour of my irresolution is past.
Remember that I have power.
The period of your power is arrived, yet your threats cannot move me to do an act of wickedness, but they confirm me in a determination of not creating you a companion in vice. Shall I, in cool blood, set loose upon the earth a demon whose delight is in death and wretchedness?
You believe yourself miserable, but I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you. You are my creator, but I am your master. Obey.
Be gone. I am firm, and your words will only exasperate my rage.
Shall each man find a wife for his bosom, and each beast have his mate, and I be alone? I had feelings of affection, and they were requited by distinction and scorn. Man, you may hate, but beware, your hours will pass in dread and misery, and soon the boat will fall, which must ravish from you your happiness forever. Are you to be happy while I grovel in the intensity of my wretchedness? You can blast my other passions, but revenge remains revenge. Henceforth, dearer than light or food, I may die, but first you, my tyrant and tormentor, shall curse the sun that gazes on your misery. Beware, for I am fearless, and therefore powerful. I will watch with the wiliness of a snake, that I may sting with its venom. Man, you shall repent of the injuries you inflict.
I will cease, and do not poison the air with these sounds of malice. I have declared my resolution to you, and I am no coward to bend beneath words. Leave me. I am inexorable.
It is well. I go. But remember, I shall be with you on your wedding night.
Villain! Before you sign my death warrant, be sure that you are yourself safe. By the sacred earth on which I kneel, by the shades that wander near me, by the deep and eternal grief that I feel, I swear, and by thee, O night, and the spirits that preside over thee, to pursue the demon who caused this misery, until he or I shall perish in mortal conflict. For this purpose, I will preserve my life. To execute this dear revenge, will I again behold the sun and tread the green herbage of earth? Otherwise, should vanish from my eyes forever. And I call on you, spirits of the dead, and on you, wandering ministers of vengeance, to aid and conduct me in my work. Let the cursed and hellish monster drink deep of agony. Let him feel the despair that now torments me.
The events of Act 4 take place after the monster has wreaked revenge on Frankenstein, killing his best friend, his wife, and indirectly killing the doctor's father by way of shock. The monster baits the doctor to follow him to the North Pole. for their final conflict. The monster is played by Larry Robinson, and the Doctor played by myself, Ed Casas.
I am satisfied, miserable wretch. You have determined to live, and I am satisfied. My reign has not yet ended, for here we are in the everlasting ices of the north, where you will feel the misery of cold and frost to which I am impassive. Prepare. Your toils have only begun, for we have entered upon a journey where your suffering will satisfy my everlasting hatred.
Alas! The strength I relied on is gone. I feel that I shall soon die. And you, my enemy and persecutor, may still be in being. But think not that in these last moments of my existence I feel the burning hatred and ardent desire of revenge I once expressed. But I feel myself justified in deserving the death of my adversary.
You hate me? Oh, but your abhorrence cannot equal that to which I regard myself. I look at the hands that executed the deed, and think of the mind that conceived of it, and long for the moment where it will haunt my thoughts no more.
I have been occupied in examining my past conduct, but I do not find it blamable. In a fit of enthusiastic madness, I created a rational creature and was bound towards him to assure, as far as was my power, your happiness and well-being. This was my duty. But there was another still paramount to that. My duties towards the beings of my own species had greater claims to my attention, because they included a greater proportion of happiness or misery. Urged by this view, I refused, and I did right in refusing to create a companion for yourself. You showed unparalleled malignity and selfishness. In evil, you destroyed my friends. You devoted to destruction beings who possessed exquisite sensations, happiness, and wisdom. Nor do I know where this thirst for vengeance may end.
And what does it avail? That I now ask you to pardon me? I, who have irreversibly destroyed thee by destroying all thou lovest?
Miserable yourself, that you may render no other wretched, you ought to die. The task of your destruction was mine, but I failed. I failed.
Do you think that I was dead to remorse and agony? You who suffered not in the execution and the consummation of the deed. You did not suffer during the lingering detail of its execution.
That you should live to be an instrument of mischief disturbs me. In other respects this hour, when I momentarily expect my release, it's the only happy one I have felt for several years. Oh, the forms of the dead, they flit before me. I hasten to their arms.
And now, it has ended. Here is my last victim. I have devoted my creator to misery. I have pursued him even to this irremediable ruin. There he lies, white and cold in death. He cannot answer me. In his murder, my crimes are consummated. The miserable series of my being is wound to a close, oh Frankenstein. But soon I shall die. And what I am now feeling will no longer be felt. My heart was fashioned to be susceptible to love and sympathy. Soon, this burning misery will be extinct. I will ascend upon my funeral pile and exalt in the misery of his torturing flames. The light of that conflagration will fade away, and my ashes will be blown into the sea, and my spirit will sleep in peace.